Welcome to Super Talk, the podcast that scratches your superhero itch. Just two suburban dads nerding out over superhero stuff on the small screen and the big. Buckle up, people. Enjoy the ride. Professor, like a gentleman, you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, sir. Here we go. And 3.
Welcome to Super Talk, the weekly podcast dedicated to news and reviews of comic book media on the big and small screen. This is episode 113. I'm your host, Brian, Professor Pettis, and with me, as always, my illustrious co-host, Titanium Tony Estrella. Titanium. We're back.
89P13, how are you?
89P. Seriously. Yeah, I'm still crying from that movie. Unfortunately, I don't think I've gotten over it quite yet. But
great movie, man. That was just.
You just
I seen it
brought
twice.
the family to go see it last weekend.
I saw it twice, and everybody loved it. And it was.
Yeah, your son was just upstairs telling me how much you liked it.
Yeah, he was holding back the tears. My daughter, not so much. She was letting it rip.
Betsy, my wife, Betsy was not holding back either.
Oh no.
Yeah.
Oh no, she really got emotional about it. But you know what? That's the. I mean, for Pete's sake, PETA gave James Gunn an award because of his awareness of animal cruelty in that movie and how he
how the way he treated the animals in the movie.
The animals in the movie.
Well, Rocket was treated like a star. I mean, come on.
Absolutely. I mean, well, brutal. He was absolutely brutal. I think Nebula made a comment. You know, that was worse than what my father did to me, and he was replacing body parts with her. But wow, that was kind of brutal.
Isn't it interesting? One of the things I thought about, having gone back and thought about it a little bit more, isn't it interesting that all of the animals in the movie were from Earth?
Yes,
there weren't you would think that there would be animals from multiple planets around the universe, different types of animals or animal types of creatures,
right?
But they were all Earth-based animals.
Well, he did say Earth was one of his favorite places, and that's why he mirrored the Counter-Earth like that, because it was one of his famous places with the rich history of music. He was very into that.
But it's like all the animals he experimented on, and all of the animals he chose to evolve into his, new hybrids. We're all Earth-based animals.
Yeah.
Very interesting. I just found that interesting.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think this movie.
It might have something to do with the fact that the comic book writers were from Earth.
Well, and the fact that he is from Earth. And they kind of changed this for the movie, but the High Evolutionary is an Earthling. I mean,
right.
He's from Earth in the comic books, and his origin is from Earth. They may have chosen to change that a little bit in this movie, but. It makes a lot of sense, and that's obviously, us as an audience, for example, we can relate to a raccoon-based character more than we can relate to some other type of creature from some
Walrus,
other planet, right?
Otter, yeah.
Well, no, I'm just saying from another planet that we know nothing about, because it's
brilliant. It emotionally gets you attached to these animals a lot more because you're very familiar with them. So anyway,
all
Professor,
right,
like a gentleman. We're back.
Yeah, let's, before we get started, we want to thank the patrons, the listeners that bring the show to you. Patreon.com is how you become a member. Patreon.com/supertalk. Thanks to the patrons out there who support the show. They give $1 every time we come out with these crazy episodes. We really appreciate your help. Patreon.com/supertalk if you want to become a patron. We're going to skip over the review section this week because what we want to talk about is going to be our topic of the week. But you did mention before we went on the air here that Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania just came out on Disney Plus last week, and you said over a couple days you rewatched the movie, and I want you to repeat what you told me before we went on the air here of what you thought.
I liked the movie the first time I saw it. I really did. It wasn't the greatest. It wasn't in my top 10, not even close. But after watching it again, there's so many questions that I had, and the way the portrayal of MODOK and the CGI with MODOK was so bad, and you really start to nitpick and grind it on the second watch. You're like, ugh. And then
I was doing it on the first watch, so I mean, I can't imagine if I watched it again, I would probably be a little bit more critical.
Yeah.
even
Oh,
more
absolutely.
so.
I was way more critical, and I've seen Volume 3 twice now, and it got better the second time.
Right.
It really is.
Well, you probably noticed things that you hadn't noticed the first time, and it kind of made
and
the
it's
movie
a lot of fun
Yeah.
in a positive way.
Right.
But in Quantumania, it's in a negative way. And I watched a little bit of bits and pieces of Multiverse of Madness, and that movie was better than I remember it. To be honest with you, it was better than I remembered it. But not Quantumania, man. You know what really I noticed more so than when I watched it the first time is the lack of character development for Kang when he first came on. I mean, it just kind of jumped him and dumped him in there. And they really didn't develop him. He really didn't have a lot of screen time to get developed as a character. Again, my biggest complaint with Kang, and I'm going to say this again and again and again, is he's complicated. For nerds like us, for the geek culture and comic
but we
book
already know
nerds,
who he is, too.
Exactly.
Right.
We know the history and how complicated. In our heads, reading the comics, we've already, kind of sorted all that out. But as a normal watcher or a novice, he's very complicated, and he's not very relatable, and he's hard to understand and wrap your head around. And for people that love, superheroes and stuff, but really aren't into the comics that much, they get lost. And I don't think he's as compelling, and especially in this movie, as Marvel would hope him to be. So that was another thing that bothered me. And then they're big and their helmets are off, and they're big in the quantum realm, but they can't grow out of the quantum realm, and all that kind of just. And I know that it's been online and they've discussed it and all that, but it really started to bother me. Like it was like, oh, they're big. Wait a minute, what? And the answer's so smart. Now they're breaking. I don't. I started to nitpick it, and it just went south, man. So
it's again. I think I was not very kind to this movie when we did our review, and I think the box office totals bared that out. This movie did in the neighborhood of 450 million worldwide, and Ant-Man and the Wasp, which is probably in our bottom 5 MCU movies of all time. Not a bad movie,
no,
but just not great.
No.
Did like $625 million worldwide.
Love Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
And I think I went in there with this love for Paul Rudd, and no matter what Paul Rudd does, I like him on screen. I think he's funny, he's engaging, but everybody around. And I said this in our first review of this, is that Cassie Lang was a weak link in this movie.
She was horrible.
It was awful.
Catherine
Newton. She dialed it in, and it's so worse the second time you see it. So, still, I didn't. It's not in my bottom 5. I will tell you that it's not in my bottom 5, but it's damn close.
So here's what I'm going to challenge you to do, because I did this. Here's what I want to challenge you to do: take the 5 movies that are below it in your list and rewatch all of them after you had just seen Quantumania, and then go back and say, ooh, is that really worse than Quantumania?
Yeah.
Because, I just, on a recent trip, I just rewatched Eternals, which I had in like my bottom 5, right?
Yeah.
Better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Oh, man.
And-
I don't have... Eternals isn't that low for me. I actually enjoyed that.
But I watched Thor: The Dark World, which is one of the worst movies in most people's lists.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
There's parts of that I enjoyed much more than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Wow.
I can't, like, Black Widow is one of those that I just can't. It's just that suffers for so many different reasons, but that was one that I was like, nope,
no villain, no
Quantumania,
villain.
probably like that one a little bit better, but yeah, just go back and do that, and then you'll be like, oh yeah, this might be dropping on my list a little bit.
Yeah. It dropped big time that second watch.
Yeah. So anyway, I just, not obviously an official topic, but I did want to get your opinion about that, and again, this just came out on Disney Plus this past week. I haven't watched it yet, and I'm probably not going to anytime soon. I mean, I maybe when I'm looking to download something for a long trip, or I might, but I'm really, 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 really disappointed. And there's a new topic here that we'll talk about that may be related to what we're talking about right now in regards to this movie. But let's jump into the news, so to speak. Look, the Jonathan Major saga is now the gift that keeps on giving. It's like every single week there's something new in regards to this. And this story is far from over. We'll probably be hearing about this and talking about it for a lot until some major announcements, which we don't know if and when those things will ever happen. But this is something that's, this court case is only going to become more and more relevant, more and more in the public eye as it moves forward. He's scheduled to appear in court again in June 13th. So obviously there's going to be a lot of eyeballs on that, a lot of people paying attention to what's going on in court. But man, what's happened from the Marvel side? We've been curious what's Marvel's response. What are they thinking about this whole thing?
Right.
What are they going to do? They have not made any official announcement, said anything officially.
Right.
But here's what they've done. They just released Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania to Disney+. Jonathan Majors was not in any of the promotional material, any of the spots that they aired on TV to announce that Quantumania was back on Disney+. He wasn't in any of those spots. No. The character of Kang was not in any of the spots that were on television to promote this coming to Disney+.
Yeah.
His name was removed from the description of the movie when talking about the cast of characters that are part of the movie.
You're kidding me.
No, his name was removed.
I did not catch that. You're kidding me.
No.
Wow.
Now, he's in the official cast list.
Of course.
But on the page, when you go to the page, stars, Paul Rudd, Evangeline Lilly, Michelle Pfeiffer, Michael Douglas, no Jonathan Majors on that list.
He's a big player in that movie.
So they are removing him from everything in regards to promoting this movie. And the new rumor now is, and we speculated on this last show, the new rumor now is they are reshooting all of Jonathan Majors' scenes for Loki Season 2.
Wow.
Again, there are some industry insiders that are basically putting their name on the line saying, I can't say exactly what's been done, and I can't say exactly to what extent and where, but stuff is being done.
Ooh.
And, that tells me that this person knows a lot more than they're letting on, and likely there's some stuff happening here. Look, from what we can tell, we don't know anything specifically about the plot, but we do believe that the Kang character does play a role in the plot of Loki Season 2. We obviously saw the post-credit scene from Quantumania where was drawn directly from this television series, from what we understand, and that prominently featured Jonathan Majors as Victor Timely and all these other... There's now discussion of them reshooting the scenes that he's... Wow. And whether... I don't know if this is true or not. Marvel hasn't come out and said anything, but if this is the case, it's like, holy crap, dude. Yeah. They're preparing.
Well, we do know he's been dropped from several television commercials. High profile, the Army dropped him. He's been dropped from a biop picture that he was to star in. He's been dropped from a few other projects. His PR firm dropped him, and his management company dropped him.
And he had a big movie at Sundance, which was up for some awards, and everybody doesn't want to touch that with a 10-foot pole now.
No.
Yeah.
No. I'm not going to pass judgment. Allegedly, he did these things, but boy, it does not look good, and every week it looks worse. So we're going to wait.
Now there's even more speculation that Marvel is backtracking on the Kang Dynasty movie itself, the concept of centering the future of the MCU on Kang, and as well as backtracking more, saying we may be bringing another villain in to be the new villain of Phase 6.
Yeah!
Which, I'll give Titanium credit, he speculated many, many weeks ago that our man Victor Von Doom would be a better character to be the main big bad for this multiverse saga and what's going on in Secret War. It may be happening because of these events.
Unbelievable. How crazy is that? And you got some stuff in the notes to talk about today, some news that leads directly into these conclusions and these things that we're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, and again, Fantastic Four casting rumors aside, we always speculated Doctor Doom had a future. We just didn't know where, when, and how. But this whole situation here with the future of Marvel, obviously a lot of things are changing right now as we speak because the writers are on strike. So a lot of productions are on hold. We know the Daredevil Born Again has been put on hold. We believe Blade has been put on hold because of the writer's strike. We knew they had went through a whole rewrite of that script for that movie. They were about to begin filming, and now they're not going to because of the writer's strike. We also know that the Screen Actors Guild contract is up for renewal right now, and they're potentially going to be striking in the first week in June. And if that happens, so not only are the writers not working, then the actors aren't going to be showing up on set either. So there's a lot of delays coming that haven't been officially announced. We know this. This all feeds into the possibility of them revamping and redoing all of this, right? And think what other... I'll give one example, but what other character in the MCU had Marvel ever banked so much on going forward in regards to the future of what they were doing? They've never said, oh, everything we're doing is now going to be centered around this one character. And that's what they did with Kang.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Majors.
Right.
He was in Loki. He was, obviously in Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. They're like, oh, well, let's just make him the big bad of this entire phase. And he's going to be in his own movie, the Kang Dynasty. He's going to be prominently featured in the Secret Wars movie and a bunch of other projects. He's the big bad now. He's not just the end credit scene guy. He's going to be around.
Well, you can make an argument that Thanos was that character, but if you think about it, it was really the Stones and the storyline behind. They featured movies with the Marvel characters, but the Stones were always the underlying background premise of all these movies, and Thanos was the end result of the Stones, right?
Well, but let me ask you a question. What was the first time we saw Josh Brolin as Thanos?
End credit scene of... No?
First Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
When he was in it.
He was in it.
Yeah.
He was in the first Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Remember when he sent Nebula and Gamora to go to Ronan's ship? Mm-hmm. He had a scene in the beginning of that movie. He was not when the end credit scene of, I think it was Avengers.
Yeah, where he's like, I'll do
puts
it
the
myself.
glove on. That wasn't Josh Brolin.
Oh, it was just a CGI.
I don't think that was Josh Brolin yet.
But it was Thanos.
It was Thanos,
yeah.
But it wasn't Josh. That's what I'm saying. They banked not only on Kang, but on Jonathan Majors.
Yeah.
And yes, when Josh Brolin was cast and he was going to be the big bad in Infinity Gauntlet and Infinity War and Endgame, yes, they banked a lot on him as the villain. And had Josh Brolin gotten in legal trouble between Infinity War and Endgame, they would have been in a lot of trouble as well because of how compelling he was and where he was.
Agree, but they could have, because he was a CGI character, they could have switched him out.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But
not like a Tony Stark,
but
not
they
like a Robert Downey
put
Jr.
so much stock in Jonathan Majors.
Yeah,
Jonathan Majors specifically.
Yeah.
And was he good in the last episode of Loki season 1? I guess he was pretty good. Yeah, the He Who Remains was pretty good. This movie, Quantumania,
they really didn't develop. He was written poorly, is what I'm saying.
But even the end credits scene, did it make you shudder and shake in your boots of what was coming? No. And again, this whole legal situation just wow. I mean,
I thought the Higher Evolutionary was more of a
oh my
threat
god, so good
and so much more hateable and developed of who he was in that shorter period of time than Kang in every scene Kang's been in. In the He Who Remains in Loki season 1.
You just said it, Tony. Brilliant writing.
Yeah.
The way that James Gunn... So, start the movie back in time when he's first experimenting on animals and creates his first creations and experiments on Rocket the first time. Like, that's how the movie starts.
Yeah.
So, building the history of who this character is and why and all these other things and how he treats Rocket and why he's so bad. All those flashbacks were just building him as a villain, and it worked.
Oh yeah,
in one movie,
you basically knew this evil entity was behind putting Rocket, tearing him apart and putting him back together.
Oh.
From Volume 1, right? From when he first...
So hateable, to
Yes,
your point.
it was awesome.
So hateable. So anyway, this we're not done with this. I'm sure we'll talk about this next episode.
Yeah.
There's more stuff coming. Again, no official announcements or anything from Marvel. This is a lot of speculation, a lot of industry insiders telling people what they've heard. This is not ending. We will hear more, I'm sure.
Amazing. Actions speak louder than words sometimes, and I did not know they cut his name out of that.
Go look.
Wow.
Yeah, go look.
Wow.
So and some other exciting news. So Captain America 4 began filming, and of course now they are filming live on set. And so now all the set photos are being leaked, right, from set, and people are really excited because one of the rumors was the Serpent Society was going to be one of the main groups of villains from the movie, and there are now live on set pictures of the Serpent Society in their costumes and filming scenes with Captain America and that team. Really cool. Yeah. I mean, again, Serpent Society will definitely do some breakdown at some point in time.
Yeah, before the movie. Yeah,
before the movie comes out next year.
Completely different than Luke Cage and their portrayal there, right?
Yeah. So what Titanium's referring to is the Netflix series, the Luke Cage series on Netflix, had two characters that were named after the Serpent Society characters. There was Bushmaster and Diamondback. So Mahershala Ali actually played Diamondback, and Bushmaster was played by, I can't remember the name of the actor, but it's like a Jamaican version. It was really crazy.
Yeah.
But they're two Serpent Society characters, but they had nothing to do with the actual Serpent Society. This, it looks like they're going full bore. They're bringing they're going to have costumes that mimic the snake that they're named after, and then they're going to have abilities that are similar to the snake as well.
Cool.
I'm really looking forward to this, and hey, it may be like the opening credits, the opening scene in the movie where they take him down or something. But I hope they're a big part of the whole film too. Again, rumors are that Val is pulling the strings of the Serpent Society and using them to get some of the stuff done that she needs done, and it happens to be that Captain America and his team have to stop them. So I'm looking forward to this. And again, one of the big reveals was Seth Rollins from WWE, big wrestler in the WWE, is playing one of the Serpent Society members, and he was seen on set. And so people are really excited about not only the characters, but who's portraying the characters in the movie, apart from official casting announcements and stuff like that.
We got the Red Hulk in that, and they say they're not going to hide him. They're going to put him out front in this movie, which is awesome. So that I'm actually looking forward to that. I'm getting excited for that movie now.
Yeah, and I do believe Secret Invasion is going to have some
lead
into this movie. I think a lot of what's coming out of Secret Invasion is going to tie.
Did you see that new trailer?
Oh, so good!
Holy shit!
Yeah, I'm super excited for this season. I really am, and I like the fact that they're focusing it really on Nick Fury, and really he's going to be the primary.
Samuel Jackson's a mega superstar, and to put him in the background of this would be
but it is his series.
It really is.
I mean, at one point in time, the woman who plays what's the character from the comics that she's supposedly playing, Union Jack, the female version of Union Jack or whatever. She asked him, she's like, where are all your super friends? Like your special friends, and he basically says, this is something I had to do on my own.
Yeah,
right? And I think part of it is he's afraid that who could be compromised? Do we know if any of my Avengers are compromised? And again, there's a speculation that potentially Rhodey is one of the people that's a Skrull, and I can't wait for this.
Rhodey makes a comment like, "You're the most wanted man on the planet," which means a Skrull portraying
Nick Fury.
Nick Fury does something really horrendous.
Yeah.
So that could happen. This is going to be great. I love the tone of this.
I'm excited. So that. But anyway, Captain America 4 set photos coming out. I do believe we're going to start seeing more of these. Good news that it's filming. Again, we don't know what's going to happen with the strikes and everything else, and whether or not they get shut down. But that one is still continuing to move forward.
The writer's strike. Did you hear? So I keep breaking. But did you hear what's part of that we called it? AI. They don't want anything. They don't want AI in there. They don't want their work to be run through AI. I mean, they're striking while the iron's hot before it overtakes and before people.
They're basically saying that, if we write a script, you can't use AI to analyze the script and change things about it. It's like, this is art.
Right.
Well, you just said your son's using AI right now.
I use it in my work all the time. It's brilliant. I mean, it's a great tool to use to enhance what you're doing. But these writers, and I have to agree with them. AI is not going to have that human touch and that personal touch and the nuances of human activity, which is
could
fine.
Explain why Quantumania was so bad. Is AI wrote a lot of the big part of it.
Oh, really? I don't.
Kevin
think
and
so.
AI wrote it all. Of it.
Oh my gosh! I called it, but listen, I think they're being way ridiculous not to embrace it and to fight it and try to have it written out of all their
contracts. Well, and even if they do get it written out of their contracts, it's going to be temporary because it's here. It's going to happen. It's like, look, to your point, maybe find creative ways to use it, but also put some restrictions around what it can't be used for, right? And look, we do have to respect the artistic integrity of the writers. Their job is to create stories and frame pictures in the minds of the viewers and the watchers. And AI can't do that. That's the hardest part, right? And we know when they're done, they do it well. We know when they do it crappy because we've seen it.
It's been crappy lately. That's for damn.
I mean, obviously, James Gunn. Go back and back. We're repeating everything we've said before. But James Gunn, the reason why Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 was so good is because it was written so well. Now, that script was written years ago before, remember, he was fired and then brought back. But it was written so well, and which gives me, I cannot wait for this new Superman movie to come out now, too.
Superman,
because he's writing it.
Yeah.
And it's just, I just have faith that it's going to be done well.
Agreed. I think it's going to be emotional. I think it's going to be James Gunnish for sure. I believe in the Gunverse. We've said that from the beginning. We're big fans, so go Gunverse.
Absolutely. Welcome to the Gun Show.
Yeah.
Right? So another big announcement, and again, no official announcement from Marvel yet, but rumors abound that Jeff Loveness has been removed from the Kang Dynasty project as the writer. Now, Jeff Loveness did
what
write.
Did he write? What did he write?
He wrote Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. Just happens to have written that movie, and it seems like, and you have confirmed this from your personal perception. Look, Peyton Reed, who directed this movie, directed all three of the Ant-Man movies. After Edgar Wright left the original Ant-Man project, Peyton Reed came in and took that over, and then has directed all three of these. He seems to be escaping without any, mud on his face. He was given, the ability to direct Mandalorian episodes, and he seems to be still a favorite child of Marvel. He seems to not be getting this criticism. Looks like a lot of it's being directed at the writer and the script. I think justifiably so.
Absolutely.
From my perspective.
Agreed.
But he has now been removed from this project as writer. Again, no official announcement from Marvel. He has neither confirmed nor denied it himself on social media. There were rumor and speculation that the reason he was fired was because he was the one behind some of the plot leaks of the movie, trying to promote himself, which is ridiculous. It's stupid to even think that somebody would do that.
He had a Twitter account as a scooper and was leaking things and confirming and denying.
You're basically shooting your own content in the foot at the same time. It's stupid. But anyway, no official announcement, no confirmation or denial from him. But again, whether it's...
And he was tied to Jonathan Majors.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But here's the question. If they are rethinking that movie entirely, maybe, okay, we don't need you to continue on with what the world building you did in Quantumania going forward, the Kang Dynasty, because we're going to change all that.
Yeah.
Who knows, man? I mean, Comic-Con this year could be an all-time banger from Marvel's perspective.
Well, considering last year was kind of a dud.
Well, no, it was a huge banger, but then subsequently after the fact, they changed and went back on everything they gave us.
Yeah.
But I think this could be an all-timer this year. Good thing we got our... oh, no, we didn't get our tickets. Yeah, but I'm excited for that. So we did get a big announcement from Kevin Feige this past week. He was there was a presentation to an investor group, a Disney investor group, and he went on stage to talk about Marvel Studios. We finally got official confirmation for the rest of the schedule for Disney Plus this year. Specifically, we knew Secret Invasion was coming out June 21st. That's still on pace, not changing. We're getting that full season starting on June 21st. Then Loki Season 2 will be in October. Again, rumor and speculation that it was going to be pushed, but it is now being released October 6th.
Same day as Kraven the Hunter.
Same day as Kraven the Hunter. But October, it is coming out, and I do believe it's another 6-episode series, just like the first season of Loki was, right? 6 episodes. So we'll be getting those in a serial fashion. And then the big announcement that was a surprise to you and I, Echo is coming to Disney Plus on November 29th, and they're releasing the entire thing a la Netflix. They're going to dump the entire season
on Disney
Plus at one time, so you can binge the whole thing. Now, there's a couple ways to take this.
Yeah.
All right?
You know how I took it.
Right. So first way to take it is, look, people were not really excited about this series. From what we heard, they had to do massive reshoots because it wasn't very good and the quality of the episodes wasn't up to the standards that Marvel wanted. It was delayed a full year. So this was supposed to come out earlier this year, and we still haven't seen or heard any. We didn't even know what the future of this series was.
Right.
So massive delays, massive reshoots, no idea where it was, but we know that it does feed into what's going on with Daredevil Born Again. We know it feeds into some of the future of that street level kind of stuff that Kevin Feige is doing on world building.
Which is on hold because of the writers.
Right, but we know Charlie Cox is going to be in it as Daredevil.
At least one episode.
Right,
yeah.
we know that Kingpin will be in it.
Yes.
Prominently featured. Again, all that being said, this could mean it's not very good. So we're just going to shove it down your throat and let you just eat it however you'd like.
Right.
We're just going to get it out of the way. Hey, here it is. Just take it.
Yeah.
The other way to think about it is we need to get this out before the end of the year and have you know what happens, because we've got something coming in the beginning of the year that's going to fall behind this that's a relevant pacing.
Okay.
And if we don't do this and say
you're going to be lost,
or we're going to push back our whole schedule for some reason,
or you're going to watch maybe 1 or 2 episodes and lose interest in it, and then blow out before we, and not know what you need to know for moving forward. So there's a lot of speculations. I think it's not that good, and they want people to binge it all at once to see what happens, just so that they get that knowledge.
All right. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. But hey, it's coming. It's coming this year. So
at least we know. We have a date now.
And again, there's still high speculation that we're going to get some kind of holiday special this year. Special presentation. We're thinking that may be the Mephisto thing coming in the end of October, Halloween timeframe. So we don't know, but there's speculation that we're still going to get a special presentation this year as well. No official announcements, but again, they released Werewolf by Night last year, like with a 2-week notice. I mean, there was like we heard it's coming, but we're not really sure. Oh, it's here. You know. So who knows what's going to happen with that. So that was something left over from last time. But yeah, so that's all I got from a news perspective. Anything else you wanted to discuss? I mean, you seem to have all these topics on top of your head.
Yeah, it's absolutely, it's been 2 weeks, so we haven't talked much about a lot of it. But yeah, I would love a special presentation during the holiday season. I don't think we're going to get that. I think that's part of the pullback. I think some of those special presentations got kind of axed, and with the writers issues, I think a lot of this stuff is being pushed back. So I think part of the slowdown and part of the pullback of Marvel, it affected these special presentations.
I'm going to tell you, look, we know delays are coming. We know delays. We know Blade at least is going to be delayed. We know there's other delays coming that haven't been announced. This strike is real. It is having an impact on the industry. They were joking. We do know that Marvel will be at Comic-Con this year, and they will have a massive announcement and several massive announcements they have to make, specifically schedule delays and schedule changes format changes, casting announcements for the Fantastic Four, a bunch of other things. They're like, well, if the actors are on strike, the actors won't be on stage during the announcement, but they'll be announced, But if they aren't on strike, they will be on stage. And it's like, but it could be a weird Comic-Con, but we know that they're going to be there, right?
We also know that Deadpool started filming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Big, and again, kind of really difficult because it's being written by Ryan Reynolds, who's starring in the movie. So he's a writer and an actor on the movie. But I think, had they not finished the script, they probably would have respected the writer's strike and not started.
Agreed.
But I think the fact that they had finished the script, they wanted to get going on this.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's good news.
And maybe they'll film things that don't need rewrites or
Right.
or changes or whatever. I'm seeing a lot of stuff out there, Titanium. I don't know if you are, about plot leaks and rumors about the plot and all kinds of. I don't want to have anything to do with any of that
I've gone
stuff.
dark on the Flash.
Yeah.
You talk about the Flash?
No. I'm talking about
Deadpool. Oh, I don't read any of that anymore because I want to be surprised.
Me
That
too.
movie, I'm looking forward to it. But the Flash had several free viewings, and a lot of what I read about that weren't plot leaks or anything like that. Just they're really upset that they waited in line. Some people flew to L.A. This one person flew from Michigan to L.A., waited 3 hours in line, and when they got to the door, the theater was filled and he was turned away. So things like that, people are kind of bitching and complaining how upset they are. Of course, a lot of Hollywood insiders and a lot of celebrities got into to see the free viewings, which really pissed me off. Like, why would they get in and not like fans? It's upsetting, but it is what it is. And I'm really worried that some moron, some douchebag is going to spill a lot of the beans. And that's the last thing I want for this movie. So, James Gunn was asked what was his favorite movie with Guardians out just recently. What's your favorite movie, your favorite superhero movie of 2023 so far? And he said The Flash, 100% The Flash. Which,
self-promotion there. But, I believe it. So we got a few like crazy weeks coming up. A week from Friday, we have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and that new
June
trailer
6th.
came out, and that's even looking better. I mean, that's again, hopes are high for this movie. I mean, I think it's going to be great. So that comes out a week from Friday, and then 2 weeks after that, we get The Flash.
yeah.
So, I mean, this is, summer movie season, right? This weekend is Memorial Day weekend, and I know Titanium's going to be rushing out to see the new Little Mermaid movie. He's been dying. It's been on his list for a while.
No chance I
It's
see
been
that
on
movie.
his list. I know
No chance.
He's telling you guys that, but his mouth is saying one thing, his mind and heart are saying
These
another thing.
these retreads, no chance. I'm even questioning whether or not I'm going to go see Indiana Jones, The Dial of Destiny.
Yeah.
I might not even see that.
Yeah, I mean, look, the blockbusters are here. We had Fast and the Furious this past weekend, Mermaid this weekend coming up. Then we've got Spider-Man. Then we've got Transformers. Then we've got Flash, and then the weekend after that is Indiana Jones. So it's like, this is like crazy time for movies. And if you're a movie fan, it's great. It's a great time to be a movie fan.
It really
right?
is.
There's something out every week. All right, well, let's jump into our topic of the week this week. Brought to us by our friends over at Studio GG Studios, home of the main band Corn on the Cob, and
Yes, sir.
hope you're doing okay, Goat, because
I'm touring Studio GG Studios Memorial Day weekend.
fantastic.
I'm going to be down there. I'm going to jump in with the band, the boys in the band, and we're going to crank out a couple of tunes. It'll be exciting.
Excellent.
Be exciting. I might even be able to get a clip to fashion into the next show.
Excellent.
Yeah,
that would be
fun.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Well, our topic of the week is the finale episode of the Titans season 4, which happens to be the series finale, as we reported earlier, and as DC reported. This series was in its final season. James Gunn, when he came on board, has decided to sunset a lot of the properties that they had been filming, like Titans, Doom Patrol, other series that they're going to continue on with, but these were going to be sunset. The whole Berlanti universe, the Flash television show is now in its final season. I think the finale is next week or this week or something like that. So a lot of this stuff is ending. this happened to be the end of the Titan series. So we'll talk about the finale since we've been reviewing these episodes, but we'll also kind of talk just in general about the series and what we thought about it and the future of these characters and James Gunn's DC universe. So
I really like the way this wrapped up.
So talk about it. I'd like to hear what you thought about the whole thing.
I did. I like the way this wrapped up. I thought it was great. I loved them bringing back Jason Todd. I thought that was really cool, and it was done in a very clever way. I like the way it kind of wrapped up. It kind of closed out a lot of loose ends, and they kind of went their separate ways in some aspects, but I thought it was good. I thought it was kind of corny that Brother Blood kind of ripped the heart out of Trigon.
So
isn't he like the most powerful underworld being?
So I do want to. There's one thing I want to address, and I don't know why nobody's talking about it, but okay, at the end of season 1 of Titans, if you remember, we had Rachel, Trigon's daughter, and she found out that her mother was in a cult who worshipped Trigon, and they were trying to bring Trigon to Earth, and they did bring Trigon to Earth. If you remember, it was like David Tennant was Trigon, remember? And he was here, and he was in human form, and then the Titans got trapped in this little like kind of sub-universe around the house that they were, Rachel's house. And then the beginning of season 2, they defeated Trigon.
Yes.
And he was now captured in the gem, which is on Raven's forehead.
Correct.
And that's where he's been the whole time. They never addressed that this Trigon that they're talking about now is in the gem that's on Raven's forehead. That we deal with this dude 3 years ago, at this house, at your house. Never was addressed, never was discussed, never was talked about, nothing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, wait a minute. It's in the gem on her head, and that's the way it is in the comic books. I mean, she has her father, trapped in the gem in her forehead. So that was a little weird thing to me.
Yeah.
Okay, but yes, Sebastian kills his mother last episode, takes all of her powers. He then grabs the horn, and from what we understand, he killed Connor as well.
Yeah. He
grabs the horn and blows into it to summon Trigon to Earth. And then beginning of the episode, we see Trigon rising out of the pool of blood. It's this, the demon form of Trigon. He's speaking to him. And Damien's like, my mother says that if I brought you here, that you and I would rule the world as equals. And Trigon's like, equals? He's like, come on, dude. I mean, equals.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then Brother Bud just all of a sudden
freaks.
Reaches into Trigon and grabs his heart and pulls it out. Kills Trigon. Kills him. Trigon, melts back down into the pool of blood. And then he drinks the blood out of the heart and becomes like this all-powerful being. And I'm like, okay. Yeah. Okay. So part of me was like, a little bit like
exactly.
But to your point, the entire team comes together. Each of them has kind of their own moment of fighting Sebastian and using their powers together, and in combination with each other, they're able to revive Connor. Connor's dead, but they give him a shot of red kryptonite and epinephrine, which is basically revives him or whatever. He ends up helping out at the end of the day. Ultimately, Corey is responsible for killing him. I mean, we find out that her powers were the only thing that could kill him. She flies him up into the sky and basically disintegrates him with her powers. And we think that she disintegrates herself as well. But no, she survived, and all that other stuff. But, at the end of the day, you're right. They all kind of you hear about where they're going. And Robin's going to go back to Gotham. And he wants to kind of make sure that,
he fights the good fight
he's
in Gotham.
He wants to take care of the city. And we know that it looks like that Nightwing and Starfire kind of going to start something together. They're going to be together now, and Garfield's going back to the Red, and they kind of all go on do their own things, and so I do think that they kind of tied the series up and wrapped it up in a bow.
It was satisfying.
Right.
It was like It wasn't a big cliffhanger. There wasn't a lot of questions that needed to be answered that you really cared about. So it was kind of satisfying. I enjoyed that series.
Look, and look, let's just talk through it a little bit. I mean, I think in general, I think the series was very successful. The Titan series in general, very successful. I think some seasons were better than others. This one, I would say, is probably one of their weakest seasons, other than season 1, which I thought was pretty weak, just considering they were doing a lot of character development and building, and a lot of the characters really didn't have their powers yet, or at least understand them. And Corey looked ridiculous in the first season with the big red wig. I mean, it was terrible. She's a smoke show, by the way, but
no question.
She looked way better this year.
Her sister is a smoke show.
Oh, they're both smoke shows. But there were some characters some seasons with characters, like I loved Hawk and Dove. I thought they were fantastic in the early seasons.
Yeah.
The worst part about this season was there was no Wonder Girl, who was my favorite character. She was fantastic.
Smoke show.
Oh, yeah. So some of the characters, and the year that they had Deathstroke on, I thought was a great year with
Jericho, his son.
Jericho's son, and then his daughter. Can't remember her name.
The Asian.
Yeah. That whole season was great.
Yeah.
I thought that was really well done. But a lot of great characters. Again, this Titans team, for you and I especially, kind of near and dear to our hearts, because we really started watching them on the Young Justice series on Netflix, very prominently featured there. Teen Titans Go, the cartoon, one of the longest running and well established properties in DC, huge fan favorite, and based on this team. Many not only animated movies but specials featuring the Teen Titans. So this team is very well beloved, and these characters are very well beloved amongst the comic book fandom. And I thought generally they did a pretty good job.
Yeah, I did too. Not really heavy in CGI a lot. I guess that's why Cyborg was left off of this.
And Beast Boy didn't really get his powers until like this season, which is kind of weird, right?
Yeah.
Could only turn into a tiger, but you never saw him turning into a tiger, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, I thought it was good. Again, I liked it a lot. It was a great way to tie up the season. And I'm not going to lie to you. I'm a little sad that we're not going to see them again, those characters again, because I'm kind of invested in those characters. Could they open it up and bring them back, or at least a version of that show? Yeah, absolutely. But I think James Gunn has a vision, and we just have to trust in it.
Well, and again, I think the Teen Titans team, it may be years before we're back to there.
Yeah.
We do know that a couple of these characters have a future in James Gunn's universe, because we know the Batman movie is going to not only it's going to feature the Bat family, which you would theoretically believe is Dick Grayson as Nightwing, is potentially Jason Todd, or as whether it's Robin or Red Hood or whoever it is, right?
Right.
And we know Damian Wayne's going to be not featured in this show at all, but we know the Bat family is going to be coming to that movie. And what version? Again, Damian Wayne and Nightwing have both been on the Titans team in the past. So who knows what's going on with the team and these characters? Some of them great. I hope they do them going forward, and I hope that we see them again. And again,
I wish the episodes were a little shorter. They were a little long.
Seemed a little long. I agree.
They seemed a little long.
I thought the castings in general were very good.
Very good. Yeah.
There were I wouldn't say any miscast characters or people that didn't really fit the character they were cast to portray.
Yeah.
I thought they were all really good. I thought they picked some good actors. When the guy that plays Nightwing, Dick Grayson, the only thing he had really been in before this was the Pirates of the Caribbean movie, the last one that Johnny Depp was in. He was in that movie, and that was kind of like all he had ever done.
He was a young kid.
Yeah, he was pretty. I think he was late teens or whatever, right? But yeah, this was like a big get for him, and I thought he did great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed it.
Good show.
Yeah.
All right, Professor, the bell has rung. School is over.
Well, that's it for us this week. We'll be back next week for more Super Talk. To get in touch with us on social media, hit us up via email, supertalkpodcast@outlook.com, or at SuperTalkPod on Twitter. Until then, stay super, everyone.
And we out.
And we're out. Oh, one of the things I forgot to ask you. Very strange. So, they started this season off in Titans with Lex Luthor.
Uh-huh.
And then they killed him off. And I'm like, there's no way Lex Luthor's dead. I mean, this has got to be like some grand plan of his. Like, he's
right.
He'll come back. Or never came back.
No.
He's dead. He's gone. They killed Lex Luthor on the Titans TV show.
Yes, that's true. And his little secret lab down in that basement with that lady was monitoring, and he figured out all
and
these
the book
things.
And everything else that Connor had access to and all the other stuff. But I was like when he died, I'm like, okay, he's not dead. There's something going on. Like he knew this was going to happen.
They never brought him back.
No, I was like, holy crap, he's actually dead.
He was actually part of Connor's personality at that point.
Yeah, his character development at that point. I just thought that was very interesting. They're off. Holy crap. Pretty good. Oh, yeah.
Black Viper. Everyone likes this game. Haters gonna hate. And I know you can't wait to see the Black Viper. Round and round she goes. Hardly no one knows. In her